G'day guys, today I'm joined by Dr. Rod Graham. Welcome, Doctor.
Thanks, Hillary. Rod will do.
Rod will do. Rod, you run a vet practice in Toorak, very successful practice, I might add. Talk to me, what's COVID been like for you?
Well, right at the start when it hit, I sat down and thought, firstly, was I going to have a business?
Okay.
Were we going to be closed down totally? Unknown.
Yep.
And then when it looked like vets were going to be essential services, and that wasn't a given for quite a few weeks that we were operating, I thought, okay, I'm going to make this work. So I had a mindset of whatever happens, I'm going to make work.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
It's been interesting. We've had to totally change the model in the way we present services to our clients. Our basic model here is we're in the business of helping people manage the life of the animal.
Yep.
So when COVID hit, using that philosophy, I thought, okay, how can we help people even if we're not open? So we started a social media campaign of highlighting what to do, how to contact the vet if the vet's closed, because we were thinking at this stage that we might not be an essential service. And as I said, it wasn't clear cut there for a few weeks. For example, you would think dentists were an essential service.
Yes.
But they weren't.
No, they weren't.
Which I found shocking. I think they probably didn't lobby the government as much as the vets did. Vets always thought they should be essential service, but you can never quite tell. So I was operating in a void of not knowing which way to go, but keeping our mindset of what we were here for, which was to help the clients. We hit social media and told the clients and the world who wanted to look at our social media how to contact the vet if the vet clinic's closed, what to do before the vet clinic closed, for example, get medication that the dog might need, or contact your vet, making contact with the vet. What do I do? And let the vet work out how to manage sickness problems. So right at the start, we had the mindset not of how are we going to run our business in COVID, but how can we help people deal with what they're going through at home. So our focus was external to the business, it was the clients.
Great, what a great mindset.
Well, I find it does work. and it's in fact the mindset we've always had here. It's part of the philosophy of the place. We're here to help people. It doesn't sound very glamorous, but that's what it's all about. So, we became designated as an essential service. So I thought, right, how can we run this business predicating on, at some stage, somebody might become infected. So, and the rule was, if somebody within a group gets infected, the business has to close down, as I understood at the time, has to close down and be sterilised and all the rest. So I was thinking about this, how can we manage that, again, without having all the information?
And you did something really interesting with that, didn't you, in terms of your rosters?
Yes, I'm part of a veterinary blog where somebody said, perhaps we could run clinics in teams. And I read that and I thought, that'll do it. So we broke the clinic up into two teams, A team, B team, or whatever the nurses called them, I forget. So I'm on Friday, Saturday, Sunday and Monday, and the other team, more surgical base, are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. And we are both, the teams are isolated. So if one team gets infected, to use with the contagion, I could argue to the health department, they're out of here, we will take over. We're used to sterilising the premises. So you probably don't know, I've also got a law degree. So I was building an argument to the health department of why we should still be able to run the clinic if part of the team got infected. Okay. So in business, I don't think you always have all the information to make the right decision. Okay. But I think if you wait for the information, it's too late. So I'm constantly making decisions without all the information, and then we realise, Rod made a wrong decision. That's fine, we just changed the decision, but we're moving forward. Now, how that showed up with this planning of the two teams, I had a discussion with the staff, including the vets, on Thursday, made the decision that teams would start on the following Monday. And when I checked in with the other team and one of the vets on the other team, how's it going? She said, well, I actually learned about the team thing online because once I made the decision straight to social media and said, this is how we're going to manage the clinic. And she learnt about the change online. Well, I apologised, but I said, look, I had to act quickly. I thought when we had the discussion you were on board with it.
Yeah.
And she was. She just didn't know I'd made the decision. But again, I haven't been through this before, and we soothed that down. But yeah, sometimes, the boss can make a decision, thinks everybody's on board, but they're not, or they don't know about it. So now, interestingly, our new client numbers have gone up through the roof. Each month they've gone up about 90 to 100% on the month before.
Wow, okay.
It's a substantial increase.
Yes.
Yes. And people ask, well, what's doing that? And I think Google reviews. We've got 4.8, I think, on reviews.
Yeah.
And I think also social media. I started doing social media stuff about 2 years ago. Somebody I met at Pilates, a good friend, he was a social media type person. I employed him and on a sessional basis, and I said, your role is to teach me and then I'll stop using you. And he did that.
Great.
And I learned. And we've actually got two elements to our social media, but basically focusing on mostly Instagram, with a little bit of Facebook happens out of Instagram. There's a veterinary page where it's more veterinary focused. The Village Vet in Toorak, I think, will find it on Instagram. But allied, but going to one side of that is Rod the Vet, which is my more personal one.
Yep.
And how I use that is people get to know me as a person through Rod the Vet, and they get to know the ethos of the clinic through the Village Vet page. So, and my wife kept saying, she's not, and you know my wife, and she's quite forceful and very successful. She thought all this social media stuff was just mucking around, and I couldn't see the purpose of either for the first year and a half. But when COVID-19 hit, and I thought social media, to get the message out there, I could just go bang. I was surgical in the way I used it because I'd spent 2 years practicing.
Okay.
Yeah. So part of our success, and I do think we've come through this with success, is I put in the work before.
Yeah.
Okay, and everybody in this clinic's put in the work. When we broke it into two teams, it was interesting. I checked on that one day where everybody thought I was merely just exploring, but I was actually making some decisions. I checked, was there going to be resistance if we isolated the clients from the vets? Because that's the other thing we did.
Okay.
The clients aren't allowed in the clinic. The dogs are, the cats are, the rabbits are, and the ferrets, but the clients have to stay outside.
So since COVID, no clients have been in.
You're a special needs person. You're in the cat waiting area. There are no cats here, no clients. In fact, if a cat client came, they would be waiting outside. Okay. We're in the process now of scaling back a little bit and looking at the end of the month, freeing it up. But that means we're going to put a red line out there in front of the counter, and that nobody steps over the red line. So the clients will be allowed in a segregated fashion, but again, the animals will be taken away from them. Now, it might sound like overkill, or actually probably shouldn't use that word in a vet clinic, over the top management of an infection, but viruses can jump very quickly, and so I'd rather be dragging my foot now in going back to the old world than being up there in the leadership and saying, oh yeah, okay, everybody, we're all open again, come right in. Yep. So we are cautiously opening. Again, I don't know what the rules are going to be at the end of the month, so I'm making plans without, once again, all the information.
Yep.
But we'll be ready, and if the rules aren't quite the way I think, then we'll just change the plan. I'm very into having a plan, but also having a plan to change the plan.
Can I just unpack that a little?
Sure.
So, have you always been comfortable making decisions and being okay if they were the wrong decisions?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
I don't like people who don't make decisions.
Okay.
Without being too personal, when I asked my wife, would you like to go to the pictures in the old world, she'd say, maybe.
Yep.
Now, I can't plan with money, but I can't chance my wife, who I love deeply. But in the real world, like in business, I think there are two types of people. Those who can make decisions and then can think, okay, I was wrong, and make another decision.
Yeah.
Or there are other people are the ones who are forever trying to make the right decision. And I find, in my experience, people who wait to make the right decision get it wrong because it's too late.
Yeah.
They've missed opportunities.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting about this whole pandemic that we've lived through. It almost has forced us to be able to pivot, and I hear that word a lot, but pivot, go in a different direction.
Pivot, I like that.
And,
Is that a Mr. Trump word?
Yeah.
Pivots a lot, doesn't he?
He does pivot a lot. But what we're seeing is just, this new landscape of great ideas, innovation, because we were forced to, it was sort of thrown upon us to say, hey, you need to change because you just cannot operate how you were operating in January.
Yeah, no, the old world. We have AD and BC in the biblical world. I guess now we're going to have PC and AC.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I said to one of my colleagues who's retired, I'd hate to be retired during this, all the uncertainty of retirement funds. I said, Adrian, he said, oh, how are you coping? I said, I actually feel I've spent my whole life in training for this. Making decisions quickly, being brave in business. I mean, again, my wife, who gives me a lot of feedback, which I ignore at my peril. But she was keen a few years ago for me to, we had some offers for this clinic, was very generous. She was very keen for me to sell.
Okay.
And I thought, what would I do? Now, psychologically, that's probably not that healthy. However, I'm so glad I didn't take her advice for once.
Yeah.
And I kept the business because going through the business with cash flow in COVID-19 has, I think, given me opportunities that had I just been the receiver of an income stream from a super fund that's dropped in half, I would find it very stressful. I feel totally in control of my situation.
Great. Rod, hey, thank you very much for spending some time with us.
Don't even think of shaking my hand. I saw that. Shake my hand.
I really appreciate your time and thanks very much for the insights.
All right. Thanks, Hillary.
Cheers.
See you next time.
Thank you.